We are both confronted with challenge and hope at the same time.
The question for 2021 is what kind of 2021 do we want to have? What do we need to do in order to really drive the trajectory of this disease differently to the way it moved in 2020?
We're trying to figure out is how can we get the CEOs and the biggest companies of the world to take a greater investment and a greater focus on these pandemics that are facing the world right now.
The private sector has critical capability to allow us to really accelerate reach or increase the efficiency of the programs that we do.
For a lot of the private sector right now, they're suffering, right? I mean, the private sector, the business community is there, right? And so one is, what are other ways to engage? And whether it's through the Global Fund or other places, for the private sector to be able to play a role.
The private sector has, already is playing, an incredible role. I think, one of the critical roles is the voice.
The reality is you cannot have a nationalistic response to this global pandemic. We must approach it globally, because just because I'm seeing differences in New York City, it doesn't mean that that's what's happening on the ground in different parts of the world. And if it isn't tackled everywhere in the world, it is tackled nowhere in the world.
The trajectory as we go forward has to be about the global response, investing in local resilience in a much more direct way, and particularly in the private sector.
It feels like COVID is the thing that, until all of us are safe, none of us are safe.
For me, the message is we will move this if we move a global effort consistently.
The rollout in ending COVID, as I believe we all know, will be the biggest global health effort in the history of the world. That means that governments need to step up and the private sector needs to step up.